everybody, and welcome to Pematv.
Welcome to Friday, June 6th, 2014.
It's been a long week.
It's been a good week. Been busy.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't been boring.
No. Just expensive shapes.
There you go. Yeah, that half price stuff's that's a big farce right there. Just so everybody knows, you can go to MetalunaBoutiqueandStones.com for all your metaphysical and spiritual needs.
And boutique needs.
And boutique needs.
Yeah.
Clothes.
Yeah, clothes and soaps and purses and perfumes, oh my.
Also, if you're keeping up with new stuff here, we do have a new show starting next Thursday. I wanted to mention that real quick, called the NPS Focus. It's going to be a show from the National Paranormal Society, so that should be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Who's running it, Candy?
Yes.
See, I do pay attention to that.
But tonight,
we have a lovely guest. The echo's wonderful too. Our guest is from Louisiana, from Paranormal and Spirit Investigators of the South, I think. Yeah. We met her in April at History, Haunts, and Legends. And because of two little pieces of metal, we became friends. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest this evening is Helen Aiken Helverson. Hi, Helen.
Hello.
How are you? Yeah, that helps. You've had a very busy couple of months. You just got back from my home state.
and Helen, if you could click the mute on that video player for us, because we're getting an echo back here.
It's on the bottom right of the player.
Bottom left.
Bottom left. Okay, I'm wrong.
I'm not seeing a mute.
Should be a little speaker. Be on the bottom of the player.
Under the video.
Maybe it is on the right hand side.
See, what did I say?
Got it.
There you go.
I think.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, because there's a little bit of a delay between what's actually broadcast and when we actually do it, so it can get a little fruity. It's kind of like a bad Japanese monster movie sometimes.
But it can be fun. Yeah. But yeah, you just got back from Joplin and Carthage. That's what I was trying to think of. And Galena.
Right.
And it looks like you guys had a blast.
We had a wonderful time.
What all did you do up there?
Well, we had several experiences at the John Wise Mansion. Selena Roan had a shadow figure that seemed to like her rather well. We went to the Galena Murder Bordello, as well as several other places. There must have been 4 paranormal groups all together, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, Missouri's known for its creepier side. I'm from the other side of the state, but I have enough family down and around there to where, yeah.
Well, that was my first time to ever go to Missouri.
Was it?
Yes, I've never been there.
How did you like it?
I loved it. It was gorgeous country.
Yeah, you were in the foothills of the Ozarks, where you guys were at.
Ah, okay. I know the mountains were gorgeous.
Yeah, people are like, those aren't mountains, those are hills. No, they're mountains.
Well, they haven't been from Louisiana then, because those were mountains to me.
So I have to ask, did you do any dowsing?
I did. I'm still learning how to use those, but I did use them, and I actually gave my sister the second pair that I got from you.
And does she like them, or is she going, oh, I ain't playing with this creepy
Oh
thing?
no, she's wanted some forever. She was thrilled to get them.
And they're behaving, but they're acting well?
Yes, they are. Much better than I would have thought they would.
Well, the look on your face when we were playing with them was just priceless, so I knew you would have fun with them.
Oh, I do. They're a lot of fun.
So what was your favorite part of the trip?
Oh, geez, there were so many good things. I can't say just one. Everything was just fantastic, and we had a lot of activity and just working with the other teams. It was just fantastic all the way around.
Well, and one of the things it's known for is, how was the food?
Very good.
They,
Very good.
they don't have any idea about portion control up there, do they?
No, not at all. I didn't think I was going to be able to eat half the stuff they gave me.
Yeah, Eric and another couple we took up the first time for my daughter's graduation learned real quick. There's a lot of buffets and a lot of even small plates are not small in Missouri.
No, not at all.
Hey, at least we eat. So would you like to tell our lovely viewers, about your team?
Well, my sister and I have been doing this, I don't know, 15, 20 years off and on. We'd go different places on our own. And then we decided we wanted to have a team. So we co-founded with another good friend of mine, Donna, this PSI. And as a team now, we have been joining a bunch of other teams to go to new places and do things as well. But see, we grew up in a haunted house, so it wasn't anything new to us.
Yeah, there is that. Well, you working with other teams, we have something coming up July? Or did we move it to August?
No, that one, the Culberson House in Jefferson, that one is coming up July 12th. And we have, we have so many I can't even think of them right now, but that's another one where we're going to have, I believe it's 6 partial teams getting together to investigate the Culberson House in Jefferson.
And that place is just cool to begin with because it's got all the hidden passageways and
that was amazing. Because our group, I don't know if you heard or not, but our group in Jefferson last time was.
Yeah, we had the teachers with tasers.
We had some opportunities for improvement. But we actually, the funniest thing that happened all night was actually Martha Decker Hazard and Wendy.
Martha Hazard
Decker and Wendy were staying down in the hidden room down behind the bookcase, where it comes up to the bookcase in that front room.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our teachers who and if you didn't know, they'd had a little bit to drink that night, was standing in that doorway of that room, and all she had was this huge Scooby-Doo moment because Wendy came up through the deal. All she saw was the bookcase opening, and all we heard was her standing in the doorway going, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!" So yeah.
But yeah, Martha said there's a secret passage to the basement, and there's one that hides a wine cellar, and I think Pam found one too.
I don't know. I didn't hear about all
Because
that.
Pam was upstairs in the room with the cathedral ceilings over the bathtub.
Right.
And apparently she was sneaking down, knocking on the door, and then taking off again. And when they'd go to answer the door, she'd be over by the bookcase, knocking on that one. And it became a whole thing going on that weekend.
Well, you got to have fun while you're doing it as well.
Well, of course, but you know, you've got Pam on one end with Jeremy upstairs, and then you've got Wendy and Martha both trying to figure out who's at the door, and nobody's answering, but all they hear is a silly giggle and footsteps.
Kids.
Yeah.
Well, we tend to kind of pull pranks on each other occasionally as well. It's just a lot of fun to have fun while you're doing this. I mean, there's times you have to be serious, but the fun is just that.
Well, and you're so wrapped up in concentrating on what you're doing and being professional that every once in a while you just need to step out and be stupid just to get it out of your system and regroup.
Well, don't you think the spirits are attracted to that too? The humor, the fun, the energy that comes from that.
I think so. In the way I've referred it to, have y'all seen the little animated movie Monsters Incorporated?
I have not. That's
haven't.
like, I love the monsters, but I've never seen the movie.
Well, in a way, the whole movie revolves around the monsters making little kids scream to generate power for their city. And by the end of the movie, they find out that laughter produces a whole lot more energy than the screams did.
Oh.
So in a way, I really do think that spirits are more attracted to somebody who is having fun than somebody who's just ready to run at the first ghostly boo.
Now I gotta see the movie. God. Yeah, we've gotten some really crazy stuff when usually we're not even investigating, just leaving the recorder going and carrying on random conversations.
Yeah. Or in the bathroom, or I mean, we some of the stuff we've got is that on recorders that we'll carry on our persons. You know, I've got a little deal carrier for mine. Kim either carries her or wears a little arm bracelet thing.
Right.
And we've gotten some really great stuff off of them. Just being ourselves.
Well, one of our first investigations, we were at a cemetery not too far from Joplin. We were in Springfield. No, we were in Licking, actually, which is between Springfield and Rolla.
Yeah.
And as another person who was with us got out of the truck, and actually as soon as she turned on the voice recorder, we got a voice of a guy saying, "Can I see the camera?"
Ah, nice.
And it was clear as a bell, but that's all he said. And we were literally on a backwoods country road. Nobody was out there but us.
Yeah, crickets can't make the noise that sound like a human voice, and that's the only thing you'd have heard out there. Maybe a tree frog, but one of those winters, so it wouldn't have been tree frogs.
Well,
or
see,
anything.
we were on one side of the road, and across the gravel road, literally, was the forestry service and nursery. So there was no one there either.
Well, see, we're still going through all the evidence that we collected over the weekend while we were in Missouri. But I do know that while we were up in the Kendrick house, we were in the children's bedroom, and at first we weren't getting a lot of activity. And then Selena Roan and my sister Kay Kuriger got to cutting up and laughing. And after they started enjoying themselves, suddenly we started having activities. We had things show up in the pictures. Now, I haven't had a chance to listen to see if anybody said anything, but I do know that's when we started getting more activity.
Well, even my shop, we're sitting there just having a conversation. We weren't actually doing an EVP session or anything at that moment. I think I was talking to Josh about something while we were waiting for you to get in there. And we got the sound of two bells that you would hear on an older business store.
Right.
And a lady say, "Help me." But it wasn't like she was distressed or anything. It was like she was looking for something.
I think sometimes the spirits ignore the fact that we even have equipment there.
I sometimes think that we use too much equipment and we don't always rely on our senses.
Right. But that night when we were at the shop, we were waiting on Martha, who was iffy at the moment because her mom, I think it was her mom, was sick. and I watched a car pull into the parking lot with its lights on, and I'm like, oh, well, there's Martha. Went outside and there was no car. I didn't see it back up, and if they would have continued on the parking lot the way they were going, they would have wound up in the creek.
Oh.
So I don't know where the car went, but it pulled in. So yeah, you get crazy stuff at random times. And Selena is in the chat room.
What?
Go ahead.
Helen, you mentioned that you grew up in a haunted house.
Right.
You know, we've been doing this for a little while, and we've made some really good friends along the way, and a couple of them have survived violent hauntings. Was the haunting that you grew up with?
It was a mosquito, and I did get it.
Was the haunting you grew up with violent, or
no,
just
not at all.
Or
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Well, was it mischievous or playful or?
More mischievous than anything. We were told by a psychic who was over at the house that my father was out doing yard work, and a grown man who had drowned in the river not too far from our house followed him in the house. And when he got in the house, he fell in love with my mother. And that's when he refused to go anywhere. Now, this was a grown man, but he had the mentality of a 12-year-old, according to the psychic. Now, he did mischievous things like you would set something down on the counter and turn around and it's gone. You'll find it in the living room. This kind of thing. Go out in the backyard, you hear somebody call your name. Nothing of the evil kind or mean at all. He was so much fun to actually be around.
Right.
Well, he didn't want to get in trouble with your mom.
Nah, it would be hard. Mom loved him.
You know, but a lot of people, you know, that's one thing that we've been able to reinforce in the experiences that we've had, I think, is the fact that people don't change. When if it's the old saying, if you were grumpy and an a-hole in life, you're going to be the same way when you pass on. You don't automatically sprout wings and become super spiritual when you pass on. And I think that's true to a certain degree.
I agree.
So out of all the places you've been, what's been your favorite?
Actually, that would be a cemetery down in Port Charlotte, Florida. And that's where my sister Kay lives. But we had been investigating the cemetery, and we got a lot of evidence while we were there. And my sister actually experienced a force pushing her while we were there. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
What's your top two on your bucket list?
On my bucket list?
Yeah.
One of them is the Stanley, which we will be doing in November.
Yep.
And the other one is the Waverly. So I haven't arranged that one yet.
The Stanley would be nice. Waverly, not on my list.
Really?
Yeah. I've just heard some stuff, and
Well, you know,
You'll have to fill me in.
if
course.
I could go to Waverly for free, I'd go.
well, there, yeah.
If I had to pick one spot, I think there's really only one place right now that I would really, of the commercial places, that I would want to go, and that's up there to see Johnny and Melissa. And that would probably be more to see Johnny than to go in the house.
Oh, I'd see Johnny, but I'm definitely going in that house.
Oh yeah. But I mean, we've known about the Velisca Axe Murder House for quite a while, and I just want to make it up there.
You haven't been there?
No.
I haven't been there yet.
It's really nice. There's a lot of activity there.
Well, it's like the Shanley up in Napanock, New York.
Right.
That
I'd love to go
place,
back to Shanley.
yeah, that place always has something going on.
Well, see, we're going to the Tombstone, Arizona next May, and I've never been there either, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's some spots out west that a lot of people don't know about. that have a lot of history, and been a lot of evil that went on west of the Mississippi. Not everything in the country is, on the
Northeast.
left-hand side of the Mississippi. There's stuff that goes on the right-hand side too. Just a lot of people don't know about it. And I know you know that living in Louisiana. If you live in Louisiana, then you got to know that there's some stuff going on down there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We have a lot of stuff like that around here.
Yeah, Louisiana's on my bucket list.
Yep.
Louisiana is?
Yeah.
What part?
Well, I've only ever been to Shreveport.
Ah.
I haven't been anywhere else in Louisiana.
I'm going to get her down to New Orleans eventually.
Yeah, we're hoping to do a New Orleans trip later in the year.
I know Wendy's Cox is down there this weekend, and she asked me to go, but there was no way. My car decided to take a tank earlier this week. So I had to get that fixed instead.
I understand that, believe me.
But yeah, that for the longest time I had hit every southern border state except Louisiana. And I hadn't hit Louisiana until we lived in Gilmer 4 years ago.
Yeah, and then the only reason we went to Louisiana was to buy cigarettes.
Right. Because that's when Texas...
Yeah, that's when Texas added the extra $1 for their tax and...
$9 for this, and yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to plan on getting together and doing a New Orleans trip together.
Maybe we could even talk Selena into hooking us up with Kevin and those guys down there in New Orleans for the tours and stuff they're doing down there.
Well, that's what you're saying, NOLA, baby.
Yeah. So,
Hey, Selena's the one to talk to if you want to get hooked up with anything.
yeah. She's got her fingers in a lot of places, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, Selena is the south and the west. And then if you want to go northeast, then you get a hold of Mary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Mary can hook you up in the northeast.
And in Tennessee and Kentucky, we got so many friends there.
Yeah, that's just take your pick.
And see, matter of fact, I think this Arizona trip will be the first time I've been west of Texas. I've never been on the west end of the states.
Yeah, I've been as far as furthest west I've ever been was a little outside of Waco. So,
I think actually San Antonio's the farthest I've been into Texas.
well, that's a good week. Yeah, that's pretty close. I guess I've been a little further west because San Antonio and Austin are further west than Waco.
Yeah.
Well, I have been to Las Vegas. I have to admit that one, but
what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Unfortunately, it wasn't that kind of a trip. It was business.
Yeah. Do you guys have any kind of interesting techniques that you guys use when you're out as a group that somebody else might not have ever thought of, or that you think is unique and works for you?
I don't know that we do or not because I'm not really familiar with what other teams do. Selena's asking me to talk about the shadow figure. We did have a very interesting time at the John Wise mansion. We had set up cameras. Let's see, we had one on the stairwell, one upstairs in the hallway, in the dining room, and in the basement. And we're all sitting there. We're not really investigating per se at this point. We're just watching the monitors to see if anything will show up and set our equipment off. And we started seeing a shadow figure that was crossing from the bottom of the stairwell towards the dining room. And at first we were like, no, that's Selena moving around. And Donna's hollering, no, she's standing right here. So we're all turning around looking. Sure enough, there's Selena. We're all in a little group. We turn, look back at the monitor, and we see this. It looked like a little girl just kind of ducking her head out and then jerking back like she didn't want to be seen. The main shadow figure that we kept seeing looked like it was wearing a hat. Well, then we later found out that the house was used as a mortuary. They would lay out the bodies for families to come in and see the bodies. And so we're wondering, we don't know, but we're wondering if maybe the shadow figure we kept seeing was the mortician himself.
It very well could have been.
Mortician or maybe the doctor who.
Well, it could have been. I mean, we don't know at this point because the owner didn't want to give us a lot of information. He wanted us to go through, see what we felt or what kind of evidence we've got, and then he would give us more information. And of course, it was later that we found out that this was an area that had been used for the laying out of bodies.
Ew. I know, but
I mean, it's got to happen somewhere.
I like this ghost that keeps going over this fence.
The what?
The ghost that keeps going over your baby gate.
Oh, that would be my husband. Sorry, he's running back and forth.
No, I'm just giving him a hard time.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, he locked the dogs outside so you wouldn't have to listen to them.
What of all the places that do you guys do most? And I guess I need to ask this because I don't know. Do you guys do mostly residential cases, or do you guys do mostly historical, location-based type investigation?
We do a little bit of both. We have a home here in the Shreveport-Bossier area that we are investigating at this time. We're going to make a second trip out there. This gentleman has a lot of land, and he's moved old houses out there. The one he's actually living in is, I believe, 104 years old. And then he also moved a 2-story hotel out there. And he's not rebuilding, but, putting them back in reconstruction, I guess you'd call it.
Right.
And the home that they're living in has, I don't know, it was called a shotgun house. Almost like two houses put together in one with a long hallway down the middle.
Right.
And they are experiencing some stuff in that home. So we went out there and did a preliminary investigation, and we are getting ready to go back to spend the night with them and actually do a for real investigation probably in the next week or two. But we do residential, but the trips are usually historical and with other groups.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, because sometimes you really have to almost have two different kinds of mentalities to do the two different kinds of investigation or help. Because if you're doing mostly client stuff, you have a whole different mindset than somebody that's going in trying to do, and document different experiments and that kind of stuff. That's
right.
It's similar, but it's also very, very different.
It is. It's you also find that the larger group you have, the less evidence, or at least this is the way I feel, the less evidence you tend to get. You have a smaller group, they tend to be more active.
Yeah, I think a large group does it, energy-wise, can be intimidating for the other side at times. I would have concurred with that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that said, we've been in large locations like OSPH. It's, 78,000 square feet?
68,000
square feet. So you can put 25 or 30 people in there because there's room for everybody to spread out, and you're not contaminating everybody's evidence. But like you said, you can't go into like a mobile home or a shotgun house or anything like that with 12 people and expect to get anything.
Not good EVPs anyway.
Yeah, well, that's true. You get a lot of orbs because you're probably going to stir up a lot of dust with 12 people.
Yeah.
Because I know that's one thing that we've seen a lot of that lately for some reason. For some reason, orb photography has become very popular again as of late, and I'm not quite sure why. No matter how clean people think they keep their house, you're going to have some dust. You're going to have some stuff. So.
Well, that's on the video that I have been watching from the Missouri trip. We had something that goes floating across. It looks like energy balls, but they're tied together. And when we first saw it, we thought, well, maybe that's a cobweb. And I think it was Selena and I, or maybe it was Donna and I, went upstairs and we hunted for any kind of dust or cobwebs. We never saw anything. That place was clean. But when I review the tapes, I'm a little leery about saying, oh, this is something, because to me they look like cobwebs, with the light shining off of them.
Right.
So, but we know that there was no cobwebs, but anybody who wasn't there, that's going to be their reaction.
Well, a, a guy had posted a picture of a lot of flying orbs, as he said, on Facebook. And he asked, hey, take a look at it and tell me what you see. Well, one was obviously a moth. You could see the wings as it flew into the camera and landed right next to it.
Yeah.
But he said no, it wasn't. But they also had on a 60-inch big screen TV, ceiling fans going, several people in the room. You can clean all day, but if you have carpets and furniture and TVs going, there's going to be a little bit of dust somewhere.
Right. Well, there was one area, Selena's bringing it up in the chat room there. We were watching the monitors and we saw, I don't know if you call it an orb, it looked like a little energy ball. It comes out of the wall, literally makes a corner turn, shoots down the hallway and goes into the room that Selena was staying in. Now, I have not found that clip yet. I'm still going through all the videos. But I'm hoping that there is something more to that than just something that could be claimed to be dust or a bug. Because it did come out of the wall. It didn't just show up.
Right.
So.
It's just one of those things, and I try not to comment on any of that kind of stuff. But if they ask, I try to as nicely as possible, but some of them still get mad when you tell them,
right,
that this is another possibility.
Well, another thing about this is, again, Selena's pointing out, as soon as it went into her room, the REM pod, which was in the doorway to her room, it did go off. So that leads me to believe there may have been something more to it than just a bug.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm anxious to find that video.
It's just that would put more credence in it.
Right.
Now, if you'd have had the ghost box saying, hey, Selena, I'm going in your room, then we'd have.
Yeah. No, the ghost box wasn't running at that point, so we didn't get anything like that. However, we did have digital voice recorders running, but not upstairs where that was. We were all downstairs when that happened.
Right. Well, next time, put one next to the REM pod and just
leave it there, huh?
Yeah. I'm horrible about that, and that's one of the things I use my rods for the most is, show me where to put a voice recorder. And it's about 86% of the time I will get something off that static recorder.
And see, I didn't think to do that this time. I'm still learning the rods.
Oh, yeah.
But see, that's why you and I need to get together. You'll get me more into it.
Oh, yeah, and we'll do the dows off.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is very interesting. So, you have the going back to the guy with all the different old houses. Do you think it's the house itself, or do you think maybe it's the property he's putting it on?
I'm thinking it's probably the houses. Although there is something on the land too. He was telling us a story about how he had brought a psychic out who was going through the houses, and when she got to the backyard of where he had placed the hotel, she refused to go out there. All she would tell him was something bad happened out there, and she was too tired to deal with it, that she'd come out another day. She has yet to return. He was telling us, his name's Mike, he was telling us that, I wish Donna was here because she could tell me for sure. But he was telling us something about a slave had been tortured and hung on the property in years back. So, but I can't find the information on the property just yet. I have on the houses, but I haven't on the land itself. So that's one that I'm looking forward to doing a more in-depth investigation with.
That's where we need to get Dakota's backside out there and say, okay, let's go.
Yes, I agree with you 100%, but getting Dakota free is like pulling healthy teeth.
Oh, tell me about it.
Well, and one thing too is there were so many atrocities that happened on the plantations and whatnot back then that, and some of it, if you're very lucky, you'll find documentation. But there's also a lot of it that was so undocumented.
Right.
Of some of the stuff that happened in the South. I don't know. It's tough. But I would be very curious to find out whether, once again, whether it's attached to the house or to the property.
Well, see, another thing, he collects every kind of antique that he can get his hands on, mainly from the Civil War. And we had used one of the Civil War uniform hats as a trigger. I put my trigger alarm on it, and that did a lot of going off. So I'm not sure if it's the homes, or if it's objects within the home, or if it's even the land, and it's going to be difficult to figure it out.
Right, unless they walk up to the recorder and go, okay, it's the house and I prefer this bedroom. Yeah, they don't do that, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Although I wish they would at times.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be perfect, but yeah, no, that doesn't happen.
You know, and this is something else. Do you guys do? How do you guys protect yourselves when it goes around? We like to ask everybody that comes on that question because we've got a lot of really varied answers over the years. And I was just curious. I mean, do you guys say a prayer? Do you just do a blessing? Is it kind of up to everybody individually?
It's mainly up to each person individually, but we will guide those who don't know how to do it or have never done it. Me personally, I do say a prayer of protection. I even imagine myself stepping within a white bubble, if for lack of another word, that no evil or negative can cross, that only good and positive and of the light can cross through that bubble to me. But yes, I protect myself. I protect our vehicles. We also brush off before we get back in vehicles to leave someplace. And we request that any entities remain where they are and not follow us.
Yeah, that was going to be kind of my follow-up question. Have you guys, as a group, ever had problems with attachments or people bringing special guests home? Or
Well, I do know that one of our members from Jefferson last year, April of last year, now she thinks maybe one followed her home. Luckily, it wasn't anything serious, but she does think one followed her home. Now, I'm going to have to say that I was careless while we were in Missouri, and I did not do my protections before we went into the Opera House, and something tried to attach to me, and it was a struggle to get it thrown off, and it was really hard because my whole team was affected by what was happening to me, and you can only apologize so much, but I guarantee you I did not make that mistake again with any of the other places we went.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places up in Missouri, though. You just get so excited about getting in there, and you're finally there. You just oops.
And there's a lot of powerful stuff in Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't know that. Missouri's kind of, I guess to me, kind of the untapped well for a lot of stuff because there's a lot of very active, very repeatable type locations that you can go to, and you're going to get something almost every time you go, unless you're just I don't know the way to say it. Unless you investigate like Zach Bagans, you're going to get something when you go there.
Right.
But I have yet to find another state that's like that, to that degree. Because I mean,
well, that was my first time in Missouri as far as any kind of paranormal goes. But I do know that every place we went during all these investigations did appear to have a lot of activity going on.
Yep, and I mean they were the gateway to the West. So I mean, of all the Western states, they're probably going to have some of the most history. Probably pretty close to Louisiana. Louisiana would probably have a little bit more of the older history because it was settled so much sooner by the Spanish and the French.
Right, which is why I want to do a New Orleans investigation later in the year. There are so many places down there. You don't even actually have to walk in. You can just walk down the street and you're going to get activity if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how it is in Old St. Charles,
yeah,
up near St. Louis.
yeah.
That they do these walking tours, much like Jody does in
Right.
Jefferson. But they'll tell you, take your cameras and take your voice recorders, and we don't even have to go in the place. And people are constantly getting to the end and starting to go through stuff, and they're finding voices and pictures of a lot of kids.
Yeah.
But
it's right on the Missouri River right there.
Well, you know, rivers, railroad tracks, anything like that tends to increase activity anyway.
Well, where St. Charles is, it's almost directly where the Missouri and the Mississippi meet.
Right.
So you have no choice with the water there. You're getting it.
Yeah.
That, and most of it's built on limestone.
Now, explain to me about the limestone. I've gotten different stories on how that affects.
The best way I can explain it, limestone is a very crystalline mineral. There's a lot of crystals in it. Same thing with the clear quartz that some people carry for protection or clarity or whatever. It's the same.
Right.
It's the same concept. It's easier for energy to connect or conduct through it. That's the theory.
Okay, that's pretty much what I had heard, but I have heard different theories.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could say because their chloroform is green that spirits are going to travel through grass. I mean, it's all theories. We haven't been able to prove any of it yet, but that's the whole thing about the veins of minerals is they say that it's just easier for spirit energy to conduct through it. So it's more attracted to it.
That makes sense.
Well, and Missouri's like full of caverns and caves and
yeah.
underground everything that's built out of the limestone. So,
Well, have you heard of the Mammoth Caves in Kentucky?
yes,
I've been there several times, but it was as a child. I would love to go back and do an investigation in those caves.
that would be cool.
Yeah. I think even some of the bigger caverns like Carlsbad and that kind of stuff, that even the touristy places, if you could get in there alone.
Merrimack Caverns or Onondaga, yeah.
Because I know just a little bit that we went to those caves that one night. I would have loved to have been having a voice recorder. Of course, how I would have kept it from getting muddy and whatnot would have been a whole different ball of wax. But there would have been it would have been nice.
We were Bigfoot hunting that night, not ghost hunting.
Yeah.
Tabby, my cat, wants to be a part of the recording.
Oh,
Sorry.
I heard that. Hey, they all have something to say. Maybe she has some input.
She has a lot of input lately. She yowls. She's 18 years old, and she lets you know she's here.
Yeah, the cat in my shop, Luna, all of a sudden has started that yowling.
Especially in the middle of the night.
Well, I'm not there in the middle of the night, but she's definitely doing
But I'm
it
at home in the middle of the night
right.
when she does.
I don't know what it is unless they work off Mercury retrograde 2, which is supposed to start tomorrow morning.
Been a lot of people typing lately that they feel off or something's off, and they don't want to say something bad's going to happen, but they just say they feel off. And a couple of them, I would agree with the fact that they're off. But,
yeah.
But there's been some people that I really respect that are pretty intuitive that I would put some credence to what they say too. So.
Well, Helen and I determined how the day's going to go by how many tests we actually get right at the same time.
Isn't that the truth? Oh, jeez.
Now we've got a couple other people joining us, so it's all in fun.
If she's getting the same answers as you, that should scare her and you.
That should scare you.
I was about to say, that should scare you, Eric, not her.
It doesn't really bother me.
Well, not until we get together. Then you're in trouble.
It should actually worry the general public, I think. I'm just kidding.
Two crazy females together?
It's like Thelma and Louise.
Hey, there's no cavern. We're good.
And it's not a convertible in the bunch.
Right.
Yeah, you ought to be fine. What have you guys? I know you talked about going to New Orleans, and you just got back from Missouri. You got any other major plans for this year?
Well, let's see. For this year, we've got something possibly shaping up for October, but I don't know if we'll do it. It also is in Arizona. I haven't quite decided if it's something we're going to do yet. I can't remember the name of it to save my life. But in November, we're going to the Stanley, mid-November. And then in December, we're doing, is that Tombstone? No, Tombstone's in May. Selena, where are we going in December? I've got so many things, I get them mixed up in my mind, and I can't quite remember them. Okay, November is Stanley, but December is her birthday one. And where are we going, though? She's
Come on, Selena, more info.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We're going to a place in Arkansas that we have to actually sign releases saying we won't state their name or give anything that will identify them.
I bet I know where they're going.
But I do too.
So
I won't say nothing.
So most of our big events are planned for the evening.
Well, if you get
Evening. Listen to me. The end of the year.
if you get bored in August, we're heading to Kentucky.
What are you doing in Kentucky?
Little Green Men Festival.
Now that is something I have never done before.
We've done it the
Oh, it's a lot
last
of
3
fun.
years. This is year 4.
Yeah, the Kelly, Kentucky is a Kelly Hopkinsville encounter.
Really?
1955 Kelly Hopkinsville encounter. That's where the term Little Green Men was coined by the local sheriff after that evening. And
Really?
then the first media circus over an alien encounter. All that kind of stuff. And the small little town has finally decided to embrace its history. This will be year 4, and they almost double every year.
Yep.
The first year, this town literally has like a population of 212. The first year they had 2,000. The second year they had 4,000, and last year I bet there was almost 8,000
Yeah.
because of all the bands and everything.
Yeah, and they do bands, gospel music, sing. It's good. It's good to see, and everything that they're doing is building up to 2017, because in 2017 we're going to have like the last major eclipse that our generation's going to see, and
It's the anniversary of
the encounter, and the main viewing for the eclipse is going directly through Kelly, Kentucky.
Oh, really?
So they're building it up for 2017 because that's going to be a huge deal. So, but I mean, yeah, it's just great. And this is a little town pulling itself up by its bootstraps. I mean, they used to have problems with drugs and crime. They've run all that out themselves.
a large portion of the money every year goes to building a new community center and a park.
Yeah. It's great.
Wow.
It's just really cool to be involved with it.
But they have, like last year it was Battle of the Bands, but every year they have like costume contests and all this kind of stuff, and it is just fun.
Yeah.
And it's on a Friday and a Saturday because everybody has to be in church on Sunday.
Always.
But we have an absolute blast. It's mid-August every year. We have a blast.
It's a little warm, but if you're from Texas or Louisiana, it's like a spring vacation.
Well, yeah, with our humidity.
Yeah. So it's nice. It's nice, and we're honored to be part of it.
Yeah, that's just something I've never done. I may have to give it a try one day.
Because I think we're at a point where a lot of paranormal investigators are. We're starting to get really curious about some of the other, what's the best way to say it, categories like Bigfoot hunting or UFO spotting or any of that other stuff. We're kind of getting interested in some of that, or at least I am.
Well, and this year at Little Green Men Festival, they're also, Geraldine's going to have props and
Yes.
videos from Geraldine Sutton Stith. Her dad, her grandmother, her aunts, her uncles were all the family involved in this. And she wrote the book. But they're also working on a very special surprise guest for the weekend. And all I will say about the surprise guest is Steven Spielberg loosely based E.T. off this town.
Really?
Yeah, off the whole encounter. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, it's just neat to be involved in it. Have you guys or anybody in your group shown any interest in like cryptozoology or?
No.
Well,
No.
we tried Bigfoot hunting once so far,
And
and
we weren't even smart enough to read the weather.
yeah, we weren't bright enough to read the weather. It was like 80 during the day and gorgeous, and we totally missed the fact that there was a frost warning that night.
Being out in a tank top in a frost warning kind of weather, not so much fun.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
Especially when we sent Eric into a cave that was knee deep in mud.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that.
I do hope you have pictures of all this.
Oh no, we have no proof of this. Actually, I think we do have a couple pictures.
I think it's on one of the other hard drives though.
I know I have the one of all of us sitting in front of the state park sign.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know about that one.
Huh? Yes, I keep them well under wraps.
Well, you'll have to share them one day.
What's a piece of evidence that you've collected that really lit your fire, that really gets you excited about what you're doing? Do you have one piece of evidence that really keeps you going?
Yes, actually I do. That's from the Myrtles Plantation in South Louisiana. The night before the official investigation, my sister Kay, Donna, and myself went to the Myrtles to just check things out. And we were at the main gate just looking around, taking some pictures. And there was a sign there with the history information on it. Donna and Kay were standing in the road to the left of this sign. And of course, I was over by the guard shack taking pictures. I took a picture of that history sign. And beside that sign, it's a full-bodied apparition standing right beside it. There was no one there when I took that picture. In fact, it's on our PSI site because we were just so proud of that. And it was just thrilling when you get it. You're like, you can't believe it. You know, surely I'm seeing things, but it really was. It was a full-bodied apparition. You can see their clothes, their hair. You can't make out facial details. You can make out the shape of their face.
Right.
Male or female?
I believe it was a male. I'm thinking it was in a uniform, but we do have different opinions on that.
Okay. Well, you kept saying they, so I was thinking there was a question in there somewhere.
Oh, what was I saying?
You kept saying you could see they were there, not he was there or she was there. So I was guessing there was a bit of a question on what it was.
Well, yeah, there really is a question because, like I said, some people think it's a female and some think it's a male. I personally think it's a soldier.
Well, that's why they talk about like the shadow, the Slender Man, or a lot of the very similar full-bodied apparition sightings that people see that are similar from wherever you have them. Shadow Man being specifically like what Jeff was writing,
right?
Leeper was writing a book about.
Well, everything I've read about Slender Man is that he is a complete made-up being that people have run off with.
Well, what
and lately, 2 12-year-old girls got arrested for trying to stab their friend to death because they claim the Slender Man told them to do it.
Yeah, that they wanted to be, what did they say, indoctrinated into his home or something?
Yes, and he said the only way that could happen was for them to stab this friend of theirs. Otherwise, something would happen to their parents, too.
Well, you know, if that's a friend, I'd hate to see an enemy.
Oh, yeah. I cannot imagine the poor little girl who, you know, got invited to spend the night and was all kind of thrilled and was taken to the park and this happened. Oh. It's 4 more minutes by Helen's clock, but we own the place, so we can do what we want.
Oh, well, Selena was asking, so
I
I
know.
was answering.
I'm just giving her a hard time. Selena knows we love her.
She also does a show on Sunday nights here on Penn called Close to Death.
She does. And
Yeah.
and she helps save us from teachers with tasers.
Yeah, she did.
She is my
Yeah,
hero.
and she's going to be talking to vampires this Sunday. Is it Sunday? I think it's Sunday.
Yep, Sunday
Yes.
at 8 o'clock Eastern. No, yeah, 8 o'clock Eastern. 7 Central.
So,
Exclusively here on the Parent County Network.
Exclusively.
Yeah, everybody's letting her know how much we love her now.
Have you guys run across anything that you haven't been able to handle?
No, not yet. There was a couple of situations where we were led to believe that it could be, but once we got there, it wasn't nearly the situation that the homeowner thought it was. It was simple smudging, cleaning of the house, showing them how to take control, took care of most of their issues. Also teaching people that they don't have to be afraid just because it's something that they don't understand. So it's just, luckily, no evil at this point.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't either. We've been called in on.
We've been called in on some stuff, like you said, that you know, somebody watches one too many shows, and all of a sudden their toaster is possessed.
Yeah.
And you have to go in there and explain to them what's going on.
Well, one thing I have noticed having the PS site up, we get a lot of genuine concerns and questions, but every now and then we get some off-the-wall people that they're more hard to deal with than than those that have already passed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of the dead. It's the living that scare the crap out of me sometimes.
Well, we had one that I had to report because he was getting threatening because we wouldn't talk to him anymore. You know, if he would say things like, I'm real fear, you need to fear me, you know, this kind of thing. And I finally had enough and just reported him. Hadn't had any more problem out of him. But you do get some strange characters when you have a site like ours.
Oh, absolutely. And you get the, not even skeptics, the cynics, who have nothing better to do than to troll around and go on the attack.
Yeah.
And then you have some people who are genuinely asking how paranormal hunting can fit in with your Christian beliefs. And some of their questions are really good, but I am a Christian and I do still enjoy hunting for the paranormal. And my interest got very strong after we lost our mother a few years ago. And I feel like God wouldn't take me to it if he didn't want me there.
Absolutely. And if you ask, probably about 70% of those in the paranormal will tell you it's because of the loss of a family member or really close friend that got them into this to begin with.
Right.
Yes.
It's not like, you know, we're all sitting around one day and go, got nothing better to do. Let's stir the cauldron 6 times, throw in a toad's eyeball, and become paranormal
Exactly.
researchers.
And let me throw a disclaimer out here. This is just my furry opinion. If you don't have a personal reason for being involved in the paranormal, I'm going to question what you're doing there to begin with.
Well, that's true. It's a lot of people get in it. I've noticed we had one that was just in it for the fun. They weren't serious about trying to contact the other side or get information, evidence. They just were in it for what they considered the fun. Well, I'm sorry, we do have fun, but that was the wrong reason to be a part of it.
That's right. I would totally agree with that.
Well, and unfortunately, those who are in it for the fun or the thrill are usually the ones who wind up getting hurt.
Or burning places down, or trespassing.
Yeah,
or something illegal. So, because there's one place here in Shreveport that I would absolutely love to get into. The GE people own it, so I guess I've got to figure out how to get in touch with them. It's the penal farm, and it's very overgrown. It was abandoned, I don't know how many years ago, but you can't even see it. It's so overgrown. And not far from it was the women's prison. Now, the rumors about this place are just unbelievable. So, and as much as I want to go, Selena's being silly. As much as I want to go, uh, I'm afraid of trespassing and going to jail. So I'm trying to figure out the right people to get in contact with so that we can make it very legitimate.
Oh, absolutely.
I wouldn't mind investigating when we went to the weirder side of Shreveport. And we went to that brunch the day after for all the people that were in
Right.
the deal. Across the street from that house, I would have loved to investigate it in that house. The
But
one used
they
in
said
a haunted
nobody,
house.
they wouldn't let anybody in there.
But they still use it as a haunted house during Halloween.
And see, I disagree with that because I believe that spirits probably have feelings just like we do. The intelligent hauntings do. And I know I would not want people coming in making fun of me if that were the case. So I don't know. I just don't really agree with using haunted locations as a haunted house for fun. But that's just my personal opinion on it.
Oh, I don't know if this location was haunted. It's just the house was just creepy as hell.
Oh, it was gorgeous. It was like 3+ stories with the bay windows and the little alcoves and the little tower at the top, and just to get Selena here. Selena, it would be fine to investigate as long as the sprinklers didn't go on.
There you go.
I'm not even gonna say what it was. But this place was gorgeous.
And see, in my sister's case, her son, who was 23 years old, was murdered in 2000. And she's really gone into it from that point. And, of course, I follow right along behind her with all that. But when we lost our mother is when we decided we really wanted to make a group and do something and see if we couldn't contact the other side. We know we won't find our mother. We know we won't find her son. But if we could communicate and maybe, I don't know, maybe one day we had to pass on a message to somebody else from a loved one. It's just, you never know what you might run into.
Absolutely. And who knows, you may run into it. You may run into him. He may, just be sitting up there, hanging around, playing with whoever, and look down and go, "Oh, they calling my name? Let's go down and mess with Mom. Let's go." Shoo.
Well, he's actually done that.
Wow.
During as my sister stated there in the chat room, we've never found his body. They found the scene. They know who did it. They know what happened. But without a body, you can't prosecute. So the murderer has gotten away with it up to this point. Of course, karma's a bitch. Excuse my language.
You're fine.
And that'll come around. But he did come to all of us and let us know he was there. In fact, that's how the psychic came in. I worked with this woman at the time, never met her. She worked at one end of the store. I worked at the other. And on her last day, she came up to me and said, "I need to talk to you. Your nephew's driving me crazy. And since today's my last day, I don't mind telling you about myself." She didn't let it be known that she was a psychic. And then she started giving us information. She even spoke with a detective who was able to verify the information she gave us that she shouldn't have known. And she's the one that actually finally gave us the history about the spirits that were in my mother's house at the time. But while all this was going on, Gregory very well made himself known to be around us. So, yeah, we've had a lot happen in our lives.
Well, that's as good a reason.
That's right.
Mine seems a little more selfish than most. Then
Why? What was yours?
to prove to my mother she was wrong.
Okay, in what way?
Well, I saw my first full body that I can remember at 8. And I had one of those parents. No, you're dreaming. Go back to bed. It's all in your imagination. Well, she passed away 30 years ago. Try and stop me now.
Wouldn't it be something if you contacted her?
She's not talking to me. But that's okay. Grandma will pass on messages.
Yep.
It's just proving to myself that it wasn't my imagination. It wasn't. I was sleeping while I was sitting wide awake in the window, you know.
Yeah, Kay said down there that that's what we were hoping for. I guess I missed when she put it up there. I'm not sure what she was referring to.
When I said he's just going to swoop down and go, hey, this is what happened.
Okay.
Well, Helen, where can people find you?
Well, the best place is on Facebook. We have a site called PSI of the South, which stands for Paranormal and Spirit Investigators of the South. We have both a branch down in Florida. My sister heads up that branch, and then we have one actually it's Houghton, Louisiana. That's the one I head up. And all they have to do is drop us a message, and we'd be glad to help them out.
And you do client-based and, just so everybody knows, you do clients and location-based stuff too.
Yes, we do. We do both.
And do you have a website?
No, I have not. I don't have the time to get it set up and maintain it. I do good to maintain the Facebook site.
Trust me, I know the feeling.
And they can get a hold of you on your personal one too.
Oh yes, my personal Facebook or even Kay's. Kay is Kay Aiken Kurger on Facebook, and of course you've got mine up there. So yeah, either one of us, personal or the PSI site.
Because if you can't find her at one, you can find her at the other.
You guys aren't related to Clay Aiken, are you?
Do what now?
You're not related to Clay Aiken, are you?
No, we're not.
Okay.
At least not to the best of my knowledge.
Thought I'd ask.
Not that they'll admit.
Yeah. Oh, well, Helen, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. I have enjoyed myself.
And it's always lovely to see you.
Always. We do have to get together.
We do. And, you know.
I'm sure you'll have another test for me before long.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it keeps our minds fresh and young.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Well, everybody, if you're going out to investigate this weekend, take care of yourself, be careful, and stay hydrated.
Be safe. Don't go anywhere you don't have permission to be.
And with that, we're out of here.
Good night.
Night.